One of those individuals is Peter Schiff, the CEO of Euro Pacific Capital, who moved his asset management firm from Newport Beach, California to San Juan. I spoke with him and asked him why he decided to relocate.
Well, I did it for the obvious benefit of being able to keep most of what I own. I mean, that's not the case here in the United States. The government takes most of what I earn. But if I earn money in Puerto Rico, thanks to the fact that they finally reduced taxes there, I get to keep a lot more of what I earn. It's too bad that Puerto Rico didn't do this years ago, decades ago. They wouldn't be in the economic trouble they are today. They would be a shining bright spot in the United States. They would have the highest per capita income instead of the lowest.
Well, I can see the appeal on the tax front. Another part of the appeal is that it's apparently the closest thing to renouncing U.S. citizenship without actually doing so, because residents of Puerto Rico are considered U.S. citizens, even though they're subject to different tax laws. Was this a major factor in your decision?
Sure. I mean, for a lot of Americans, if you have some wealth, if you have some businesses, for the privilege of renouncing your citizenship, the U.S. government imposes a very heavy tax. And if you don't want to pay that exit tax, if you just want to leave the country, no matter where you live, if you're earning money, the U.S. government wants its cut. That is uniquely American. Most countries, if their citizens travel abroad, they let them go freely. They're allowed to earn money, and they're not subject to the tax. In fact, now they want to even revoke your passport if you owe more than $50,000 in taxes, and turn this country into a giant debtor's prison. But Puerto Rico is kind of a get-out-of-jail-free card. It's one of the only places, or maybe the only place in the world, where Americans can go and be free. We can be treated like citizens of any other country. If you go to Puerto Rico and earn money, the U.S. government doesn't tax you. Only the Puerto Rican government taxes you, and now they're not taxing you there either. So Americans can experience the freedom that until recently was only available to people who were lucky enough to be born in other countries.
But given that it has $70 billion plus in outstanding debt, and one of its biggest problems is its shrinking tax base, you have thousands of Puerto Ricans leaving and that have already left, mostly to Florida or Texas in search of a better economy. Doesn't Puerto Rico need the tax revenue from wealthy people like yourself? How does bringing in wealthy mainland Americans but giving them these tax breaks help Puerto Rico's economy?
Well, first of all, they get a 4% tax. So 4% of something is better than 50% of nothing. So the wealthy businesses that are coming to Puerto Rico are paying taxes. But more than that, they're hiring people, they're investing, they're developing, they are helping the economy, right? That's one of the only things Puerto Rico's got going for it now. And of course, if more people come, that will only benefit Puerto Rico. But yes, Puerto Rico has a lot of debt, but not compared to America. America has much more debt than Puerto Rico. America is in worse shape than Puerto Rico. If you look at America's debt to GDP, it's much larger than Puerto Rico's. And if you look at the per capita debt, even if you account for the difference in income, America is much worse than Puerto Rico as far as its fiscal situation. It's just that Puerto Rico's creditors have figured out how broke Puerto Rico is, but America's creditors haven't made the same obvious conclusion. But if we were forced to pay the same type of interest as Puerto Rico, America would be defaulting too.
But the businesses that are starting in Puerto Rico, where are they getting their revenues from? Is it mostly reliant on revenue from outside of Puerto Rico to be successful? I mean, can you do well as a business there, given the high unemployment and the struggling economy?
Well, absolutely. In fact, part of the requirement is you have to generate your income from outside of Puerto Rico to qualify for the tax exemption. You have to do the work in Puerto Rico, but you have to generate the revenue from outside of Puerto Rico. Now, I would hope that one day Puerto Rico will abolish the income tax for everybody so that nobody living in Puerto Rico has to pay any income taxes on anything they earn. That would be the best thing that can happen to Puerto Rico. But at least they've taken a step in the right direction. New people that come to the island, right, that bring their businesses, bring their entrepreneurship, their drive, their ingenuity, right? If they bring that to Puerto Rico and they can generate income in Puerto Rico by rendering services outside of Puerto Rico, they can do so without having to be subject to U.S. income taxes. Also, there's no capital gains taxes there. So if you make some investments and they pay off, you get to keep the profit. You don't have to cut in, your silent partner, the U.S. government, who's there when you succeed, but who doesn't share in the losses when you fail.